Before I get into the video, please hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by my 40th birthday in just a couple weeks. Today I'm going to get into my son Jacob's story. Jacob is in 6th grade, he's 12 years old, and he's at a 1st grade level in reading and math. The reason I'm talking about this is because there might be other kids out there in a similar situation who are struggling so hard. I think that Jacob's ADHD and dyslexia is genetic, but I also think that some environmental factors from his early childhood made it more severe. I'm going to talk about some things that stuck out to me from when he was 0 to 5 years old. When Jacob was born, the cord was wrapped around his neck and he was purple. I'm not saying that that caused his problems. Maybe that made it worse. I don't know. If somebody watching this knows more about that, then please let me know in the comments. Jacob had a hard time nursing. He wouldn't latch on and stay on. It was like off and on, looking around. I don't know if that was part of the ADHD, but I had to bottle feed him. Jacob smiled at me earlier than any of my other kids. I think he was maybe 2 weeks old when he looked at my face, recognized me, and smiled. And maybe that's just my perception as a mom, but it really felt like that's what he was doing. As a toddler, he always wanted to connect with me. He always wanted to talk to me, but Jacob was very hard to understand. He was a little bit of a late talker. When he did start talking, the speech wasn't very clear. It was hard to understand the way he was forming the words. This lasted all the way from age 2 to 4. I just remember being so frustrated, and he would get frustrated too because he was jabbering away at me and I had no clue what he was saying. Then after that, when I could understand the words he was forming, what he was saying didn't make sense to me a lot of the time. What'd you say? So he got frustrated because I couldn't respond. I couldn't have a back and forth conversation with him. Plus at that time, I was not emotionally well. I had undiagnosed anxiety and ADHD, as well as PMDD, premenstrual dysphoria disorder. Now I take herbs and supplements for those things. I was also a very negative thinker, which is a common trait of people with ADHD. I was fine when everything was going my way, but when you have little kids and a new marriage, things don't go your way about half the time. Jacob is my second son, and my oldest son took a lot of time and energy. He was very active. When Jacob was 9 months old, I got pregnant with my third son, and I had him when Jacob was 18 months old, so I don't feel like Jacob or Mike got enough of my attention. I was busy so much of the time, and when I wasn't busy, I was too stressed out to be emotionally available. I didn't know how to give them consequences in a constructive way. I was really trying to focus on rewards with my kids, and I still think rewards are important, but I was missing the consequences side of it. So I was either not doing anything about their behavior or I was freaking out. It was like totally passive mom or angry hysterical mom. I read in a book that I got from WIC about children from ages 0 to 5 that kids in an emotionally unstable environment have higher rates of ADHD later in life. I wish I still had the book so I could read from it for you, but I donated it. When Jacob was a toddler, he wouldn't sit on my lap long enough for me to read him a picture book. He wasn't too active physically. His ADHD is more in his mind, meaning that his mind is moving around a lot. Despite some of these warning signs that I was seeing, my mom and my sister noticed that he's very intelligent. He made some interesting things as a toddler. For example, he put a bunch of leaves and different things from the yard on tape, kind of just made a design with them. When I tried to do some kind of teaching with him as a preschooler, like teach him the ABCs or do flashcards, I just couldn't. For one thing, I was totally overwhelmed as a mom. I felt like I had a lot of dishes and housework to do and that I didn't have time to sit down with my child. And every time I did, he was not responsive. He wouldn't cooperate. He didn't like it. He would get frustrated. He had a hard time managing his emotions. At that time, I didn't know anything about dyslexia or ADHD. I didn't know about the proper sequence for teaching literacy, like you start with the letter sounds. I was trying to teach him the alphabet. I wasn't able to teach him his ABCs before kindergarten. The only thing that would really hold his attention was movies. That's why the Letter Factory really helped my younger children later on, because they could just watch it. According to the American Psychiatric Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, Jacob has almost every symptom of oppositional defiant disorder, and so that made it even harder to teach him because he was very defiant every time I tried to work with him. When we were potty training him, he got frustrated, and he refused to even take some M&Ms from me. Just because I said, here, take these M&Ms, he said no. Jacob potty trained at 2, and all of my other kids took until 3.5 to potty train. He didn't have hardly any accidents or bedwetting after he was potty trained. That was something interesting about Jacob. So those were some of the signs in his early childhood that showed me that something was going on, as well as some things from age 0 to 5 that I think contributed to the severity of his ADHD and dyslexia. Let me know in the comments if your children with severe ADHD and dyslexia had some similar things in their early childhood. Tomorrow, I'll talk about all the things I tried to do for him while he was in elementary school. Here's what the boys did today after finishing their homeschooling. They made these earlier. And then they hung them up to dry with coat hangers.
I put aluminum tape on it, and I didn't sharpen the tip that much because I didn't want to hurt my brothers. I put duct tape as a handle, and then I have a knife.
Alright everybody, have a good one. We'll see you next time. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that button for me. If you want to get notifications every time I make a video, just click the bell and you'll get a message when I post a new video. I make new videos every Tuesday and Thursday.